Welcome to my channel What If Legend. This video is on what Naruto was banished and became an emperor part 5. The like goal for this video is 37 likes. Sooner the like goal is met, sooner I will upload the next part of this what if. If you enjoy this what if, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to this channel. Disclaimer, I don't own Naruto nor this what if. The next morning all of the Konoha Shinobi were given a nice wake-up call at 7 a.m. Asuma, Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba, Shino, Neji, and Lee all had red eyes from the lack of sleep they had. They were way too nervous to be getting any sleep and got an hour at the most. The females were a little bit more fortunate but were equally as tired. The girls had just fallen into their deep sleep when the knock came at their door. Danzo, Sai, and Sasuke seemed unfazed by the lack of sleep and were already waiting for the others in the lobby of the hotel. There, Kenpachi and Yakiru were waiting for them, amused by the Konoha Shinobi's appearance. They all look like shit. So much for a good night's rest. Naruto's gonna eat them alive, Kenpachi thought, while Yakiru was humming about the dango Kenpachi promised her when they were done with their assignment. After a few minutes, everyone had come down from their rooms and were slightly prepared to start their day. Well, I hope our accommodations were adequate enough for you guys, though. It looks like you all could use a few more hours of sleep, Kenpachi said, chuckling at the sight. Our accommodations were perfect, Kenpachi-san. It just seems like the meeting with the Emperor has made us a bit restless, Asuma responded, as Kenpachi just nodded in understanding. Why the hell are we waking up so early anyway? The sun is barely rising, Kiba interjected and was whacked on the back of the head by Kurenai for his tone. You all expressed interest in our festival, so we wanted you to be able to experience as much of it as possible. Seeing as though you'll be meeting the Emperor, later on, you won't have much time to do a lot of the fun stuff, Kenpachi said. You also probably won't be alive at the end of the day either, Yakiru mumbled, though the Konoha Shinobi didn't hear her. So if there are no more complaints, let's get a move on, he said as he started to walk towards the exit as the Konoha group followed. Kenpachi and Yakiru gave the Shinobi a quick tour of the entire grounds of the festival. They explained Restaurant Row, the different amusement rides, the games, the shops, and the entertainment. The Konoha group, even Danzo, Sasuke, and Sai, were amazed at the great size of the city and all of the things they were able to do. Not to mention the crowds of people enjoying the festival, even this early in the morning. Now, we will let you off to do as you please. Obviously, don't do anything stupid since you have your upcoming appointment with the Emperor around noon. We will round all of you up before then and escort you to the palace. So I hope you all enjoy yourselves and savor it while it lasts, Kenpachi said, as he and Yakiru walked off into the crowd. The Konoha Shinobi dispersed very quickly. Choji made a quick dash for Restaurant Row, with Shikamaru, Kiba, and Shino behind him trying to catch up. Neji and Lee decided to venture off and take in some of the sights while looking for some signs of Naruto. Inoue and Tenshin decided to go shopping for some omiyage that they could bring home. Asuma and Kurenai decided to have a little date, walking around and taking in the scenery of the beautiful city. Danzo, Sai, and Sasuke decided to sit in one of the shaded areas and wait until it was time to meet the Emperor. They didn't want to deal with the citizens of the West, though Danzo was observing with his Sharingan, the different power levels of people that would walk past them from time to time. He thought about maybe finding a few strong enough that he could use as spies here in the West, just so he could fully scout how powerful they were. Meanwhile, Hinata wandered off at her own pace to Restaurant Row, looking to hopefully get a seat at a Kiraku's and maybe talk to Aomordaki to see if maybe Naruto was in the West. Both Ayame and Taki were the only ones, besides Kurenai, that she could talk to about Naruto. The father and daughter never hated Hinata, knowing of the girl's obvious affections for the young blonde. They would sometimes close a kairaku, just so the three could talk and reminisce about him. Hinata was sad when Tiki and Ayam closed up shop in Konoha to head west, but they told her that they would let her know if Naruto just so happened to be there. The guys found a nice BBQ restaurant that served all you can eat. As they took a seat, they noticed another group of people sitting a few tables down from them. They noticed a skinny boy with a straw hat on, demolishing thick pieces of meat at blazing speeds. He ate faster than Choji, even though the boy looked like he was half the size of the Akimaki. They noticed the boy's companions didn't seem to mind it one bit. Once they were done, they ventured off and eventually met up with Neji and Lee, who were playing some of the games that were offered on one of the streets. They immediately made their way to a shuriken throwing game. This would be easy for all of them, considering they were shinobi and a shuriken was a basic weapon. Each passed with flying colors, except Kiba, who had 3 chances and couldn't make any of the shurikens stick to the wooden target. This generated laughs from the rest of the guys and a few other civilians watching. Hinata managed to get into kairakus, much to the surprise of both Tiki and Ayam. They seated her immediately at the counter and wondered what she was doing here. She explained her mission to them, to which the father and daughter looked at her with some concern. They served her ramen quickly and told her to stay in the restaurant. Ayam dashed away for a period of time and came back with a warm smile on her face. She whispered to her father something, which also led him to have a smile. When Hinata asked what was up, both Tiki and Ayam made sure to let the kunoichi know that everything was alright and to not worry. They took their break and talked to her about everything that had happened since they left. Hinata also wanted to know about Naruto, but father and daughter made sure to let her know that he was safe and in the West. They said that she may run into him during the duration of her stay, which made the Hyuga perk up a bit and blush. Asuma and Kurenai decided that they would do some games and then eat. Asuma managed to win a red teddy bear for Kurenai in the shuriken throwing game. They were going to make their way to a kairaku when they noticed that the line was nearly out the door. They didn't have enough time to wait, so decided on a bento from none other than Yukihira's, at the suggestion of a regular civilian. Though the bento looked ordinary, it was a life-changing experience for the couple, who were nearly stripped of all their clothes after the first bite. Once they had garnered an alliance with the West, they would have to come back to try it again. Eventually, the time to meet with the Emperor came. The Konoha group was having so much fun, that they almost forgot why they were there in the first place. The group is eventually rounded up by Kenpachi and Yakiru, and their cheery demeanor turned to nervousness as they made their way to the palace. This was a very important mission, one that would decide the future of Konoha as they knew it. They had to succeed without fail. As the group made their way to the palace, Walter greeted them at the entrance and had the group follow him. They made their way through the large palace, and to the entrance of the throne room. Walter allowed Kenpachi and Yakiru to go, seeing as though they were done with their assignment. Yakiru cheered as she nagged Kenpachi for the dango he promised her. Once they had left, Walter turned to the group. "The Empress is waiting for you. She is just through this door, are you all ready?" he asked, which greatly confused everyone in the group. "The Empress? I thought we were meeting with the Emperor?" Asuma said, which caused the butler to chuckle a bit. "Nobody told you, I see. Well, the Emperor had something to take care of, so he won't be meeting with you. The Empress also deals with matters when it comes to alliances and treaties, so you would have had to go through her anyways. If I were you, I would want to do business with the Empress. She is much kinder and compassionate compared to the Emperor. So please, if you would follow me and don't do anything rash," Walter said as he opened the doors and led the group into the throne room. The room was very large, both width and height-wise, with 4 sets of pillars on each side of the room, but also very bare. There was only a single red carpet with gold accents on it that led to the Emperor and Empress seats. One seat was empty while Euphemia sat in the other seat. Her special guard members Akam, Android 18, Kagura and Urza Scarlet stood on the sides of the room, watching intently as the Konoha group made their entrance. They were particularly on guard for this one, knowing full well the stories of the people from Konoha. The entire Konoha group, even the females, noticed her beauty immediately. Both Kiba and Sasuke nearly drooled on the floor when they saw her, noting that none of the women in Konoha could compare to her. Euphemia had a stoic face on, noticing the looks she was getting from the entire group. "I can't wait to see their faces after he appears," she thought as her mind wandered to what her husband was currently doing. With Naruto, he was waiting patiently in his chambers for them. He watched outside his window and saw that Walter was bringing them to the throne room. It was now his time. His special guard with him, along with Ichi and Jiraiya. All 3 former Konoha residents donned their masks, as they made their way to the throne room. "You ready for this, Gaki?" Jiraiya asked as he put his toad mask on. "As ready as I'll ever be," Naruto replied, his Tengu mask already on. "No matter what happens, we will all have your back, Naruto," Ichi replied, as he put on his cat mask, similar to the one he used during his Anbu days. "Thanks. Now let's do this," he said as the group made their way through the palace. Throne room. Walter brought the Konoha group near the steps and bowed before the Empress. "Empress-sama, I present to you the Konoha entourage led by Sarutobi Asuma," he said as the rest of the Konoha group bowed. "Thank you, Walter. So, what can the West do for the village of Konoha today?" Euphemia asked as Asuma lifted his head to speak. "Empress-sama, our village comes to you in a time where war is brewing. We are currently outnumbered and outmatched nearly 3 to 1. We have no allies, and will most definitely be destroyed if we try to fight in our condition. We come here, with an offer of an alliance between our 2 nations, so that we may fight off our enemies and preserve our village and its rich history," Asuma said. "You come here for an alliance? What can you offer us that will make this alliance beneficial for both of us?" Euphemia asked. "Our village has many S-rank jutsu that is extremely valuable to anyone who possesses them. We have a strong military that can be beneficial and can help you in a time of need. Also, we do have some items that we can trade with you at a reduced price," he answered, knowing that he was stretching the truth a bit. "So you have many powerful jutsu and a strong military? What good will that do us?" Euphemia asked with a straight face, though she was certainly amused with the Sarutobi's way of negotiating. "I guess they don't know that I can call bullshit when I see it," the Empress thought. "Well, Asuma stuttered before he was cut off. "You know, I can see that this is going nowhere and is a huge waste of our time. It was stated in the letter that we received that we would be meeting with the Emperor, not his wife. I think it was a mistake in choosing the West as an ally," Danzo said as he stood up, pissed off at the current proceedings. "You do realize that I am the one that makes the decisions on whether or not the West chooses to be allied with you, right?" Euphemia said as the rest of the group's faces dropped as they heard her words. Unfortunately, it was to no avail. Danzo just kept going, "I could care less if you make the decisions or not. The fact that the Emperor isn't here tells me he is just a figurehead. He is only Emperor because he is backed by competent people within his control. He probably couldn't even defend himself if challenged. It seems like we won't need you as an ally anyway, seeing as though you have a weak and useless ruler leading you," he said. "The Emperor must be weak if he allows his wife to make all of the decisions for him. In fact, He's probably fooling around right now with some whore. He obviously doesn't appreciate your fine qualities at all. Though, if you were to come with me, I can see you and I could make powerful offspring. Doesn't that sound like a good idea, Empress? The Uchiha added, as Euphemia balled her hand into a fist. She was fuming. Not only had these two idiots insulted her, but also insulted her husband, calling him weak and a cheater. She would not stand this one bit. That's it. Because of the two of you, Konoha will definitely not get an alliance with the West, she said, the anger evident in her voice. The others in the Konoha group just dropped their heads. Surely Konoha would fall. Unfortunately for them, the worst was still to come. Well, if we won't get an alliance, I would like to challenge for the title of Emperor. I'm sure you wouldn't mind me being your new husband, Empress. As you can see, I'm obviously an elite and would outclass your husband in every way possible, Sasuke said. Before Euphemia could speak, the doors to the throne room swung open, as a new group walked in. Who dares to interrupt our meeting, Danzo said, staring at the head of the new group. I dare, Naruto said, flanked by his special guard plus a disguised Uchiha and Jiraiya. He had been listening behind the door. The anger was building inside of him, as he heard both Danzo and Sasuke insult not only him but also his wife. Who the hell do you think you are? Sasuke yelled, Sharingan activated and ready to fight. The Emperor, Naruto stated. Both Danzo and Sasuke were intrigued and backed down. The rest of the Konoha group, however, knew they were done for. It was over. They would most likely all be killed by the Emperor now because of Danzo and Sasuke. As they bowed before him, they were praying to Kami that somehow, maybe the Emperor would overturn his wife's decision and hear them out. Everyone bowed, except Danzo and Sasuke. Does our floor not treat your knees well? You should get that checked out, the Emperor chuckled at his joke, but Sasuke didn't back down. I challenge you, Emperor, for your throne and your wife. Accept, or die where you stand, Sasuke said, preparing his chidori. Unfortunately for him, he was immediately surrounded by a number of swords at his neck, preparing to behead him at any time. Zoro, Akam, Ursa, Jin, and Mugen sprung into action at the Uchiha's threat. The Konoha group didn't even see them move, only as they appeared surrounding Sasuke. All of the swords made slight contact with the Uchiha's skin, causing some blood to trickle from his neck on all sides. His Sharingan was turned off immediately. Naruto was just very amused at this, still the same old Uchiha, I see, he thought as he made his way to his wife. He whispered into her ear, apologizing for making her go through this. He said he would make it up to her afterward. So, I remember you all wanted an alliance, am I right? He asked, as a flash of hope arose for the Konoha group. Maybe, the Emperor would be a bit forgiving. Dear, I was just telling them that they would not get any alliance with us, due to the actions of those two, Euphemia said as she pointed in the direction of Danzo and a still surrounded Sasuke. Now Yuffie, two idiots do not reflect the entire group. I would like to hear them out, the Emperor said, putting a comforting hand on his wife's shoulder. She huffed, knowing all too well where he was going with this. As my wife was asking Sarutobi, what can Konoha offer us that we don't already have in the West? Naruto asked as Asuma rose to speak. We have the will of fire that burns within our village. It is our motto to never give up, and even though we may be down, we are never out of a fight. We always do our best to uphold our standards as model Shinobi, and only wish for peace in our village, Asuma said, as Naruto was amused at this answer. How hypocritical, he thought. Interesting. However, one thing just doesn't sit right with me. Your Hokage mentioned to me that you currently have no allies. Why is that? I mean, a powerful village like yours must have some allies at least. Other villages must want to go to you for protection, am I right? Naruto asked. Before Asuma could answer, Danzo interjected, because they are weak and are useless to us. They would only get in the way. Also, if you must know, we lost those alliances due to one Uzumaki Naruto. Because he was a demon, other villages didn't trust us and broke up our alliances. We have heard rumors that he has been here in the West. If he is in your country, you must turn him over to us. He is still a genin of Konohagakure. You wouldn't want someone as weak as him in your ranks anyways. He is a troublemaker and a dead last, he wouldn't do anything to help your country. Besides, I would think you have other pressing matters anyways. He tried to make it all Naruto's fault that the village lost their alliances. Danzo thought the emperor didn't know any better. Well, unfortunately, I can't do that. Uzumaki Naruto is a hero here in the West. He helped turn the tide of the war and ushered a new era of peace. He is beloved here by everyone. Plus, he would have to go on his own free will. I will not force him to if he doesn't want to, the emperor responded calmly, sparking some anger in Danzo, but causing some interests from everyone else. You must do so immediately. Regardless if we have an alliance with you or not, this is non-negotiable, Danzo said, a bit embarrassed after hearing the emperor consider Naruto a hero, but it was no matter to him. The Konoha 11 wondered about how Naruto was doing and hoping they could see their friend again. What would you do with one Uzumaki Naruto if I turn him over to you? Euphemia asked. He will make sure that we get those alliances back, through any means necessary. He was the cause of us losing them, and we will make sure he gets them back. If he has to die for it, then so be it, Danzo stated bluntly. The emperor made it seem like he was pondering over his decision. He took a while, making Danzo grow impatient. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. This is non-negotiable. If you were smart, you would do it. Or else you will have to face the consequences, Danzo threatened, angering Naruto to the point where even Kurama was wondering if he would lose control. Is that a threat, councilman? Do you threaten me in my own house? The emperor said, as he moved closer to the group. Please, Emperor-sama, though Danzo is a village elder, he does not speak for the Hokage or us. We only want an alliance so that we can keep our place as a major village and have peace. We don't want to have to fight. We just want to be able to fulfill our village founder's wishes and keep the will of fire alive, Asuma said, as he begged the emperor on his knees. Danzo, on the other hand, could care less about the situation anymore. He knew it was his time to lead the village. No one, not the Hokage or any of the council, was here to stop him. This was his time in the spotlight. It is only a threat if the action is not carried out, and I can assure you, Emperor, we will carry it out without fail, Danzo stated in cold blood. This was the last straw for Naruto. To be honest, I don't care if you insult me. That I can handle. What I cannot handle is insults hurled at my own wife and threats to myself and her in our own house. You think you can order me around in my house, surrounded by my people? You claim to be a major village with a strong military when I know that is far from the truth. You do not possess the will of fire that you so claim your village still has. That fire was extinguished the day you banished Uzumaki Naruto for doing his duty as a shinobi of Konohagakure, Naruto said, angry at the threats hailed against him. Uzumaki Naruto was banished because he threatened the safety of the shinobi and citizens of Konoha. Now that he is seen as a hero, he is now needed back in his home. You do not want to challenge us, Emperor, for I do not foresee it turning out well for you, Danzo retorted, making Naruto wonder if this senile old man was right in the head. You think I'm going to make Uzumaki Naruto return to you after all this time just so you can use him as a pawn in your scheme? Fuck no. He has told me about his childhood, he has told me about the life he lived, he has told me about the people he thought were his friends, but decided to abandon him in his time of need. He told me about how shitty his life in that village was. He is tired of taking orders from senile old men who only want to use him for their own personal greed. My answer is no, you will not get Uzumaki Naruto. For you Sarutobi, you tell your Hokage that my answer to an alliance is number. I do not want to infect my people with this will of fire that you speak of. It's total and utter bullshit, Naruto responded. Unfortunately, all he does is spew lies. He is a demon boy. One who is sly and sneaky and will do anything to get you on his side, Danzo said, sensing the situation was getting away from him. I can assure you, he is not lying at all, Naruto stated boldly. Prove it. Danzo challenged. During all of this, Shikamaru was running different scenarios through his head. Not for the scenario of them dying, that seemed like a given already, but the scenario of who the Emperor was underneath the mask. Something just felt familiar about him. Minus the fact that they already fought once. However, as he was thinking back to that first fight, the Emperor used the same techniques as the Yondaime, but it couldn't be the Hiraishin, right? He then thought of the other reports that came in from his classmates. How he knew what Kurenai's team would do before they could do it. How he knew of Lee's injuries from before and that they needed somebody special like Tsunade to heal them. How he knocked Neji out using the same technique Naruto did during the Chunin exams. Naruto. He fit the description. He knew how the other teams worked and the special abilities that the clans had. He had insider knowledge. He looks very similar to the Yondaime. Is that coincidence? He was the one who found Tsunade to help Lee. He defeated Neji using a sneaky technique and with shadow clones. The Emperor confirmed he was in the West. All these thoughts were running through Shikamaru's head at 1,000 miles per second when it finally came together. Number. It couldn't be. Naruto was done with the charade. Danzo was getting on his nerves and he was sick and tired of all the insults being hurled at him. He took off his mask, giving everybody a good look at his face. No matter how much more mature he looked. It was definitely him. If his whisker marks weren't a dead giveaway, his bright blue eyes and yellow blonde hair was. Shikamaru was spot on in his prediction and he hated it when he was right. Your proof is right in front of you because I lived through every fucking second of it. Do you still want to challenge me, Councilman? Because I would kill you in a heartbeat, Naruto said as he transformed into his Kubai Chakra mode. Orange flames coating around his body as even Danzo now got to a knee in shock. The Kubai. The demon brat, he's controlling it, Danzo thought, shocked at these new developments. Naruto-kun? Hinata said softly, almost prepared to faint. Everyone else included were ready to faint. Asuma and Kurenai were stunned. Dobi, fight me like a man. Release me, so I can finish you off like I should have the first time, Sasuke said as Naruto motioned to the guard to lower their weapons. They stepped back, allowing Sasuke space to lurch forward at Naruto. However, he was struck in midair, as Ichi came in to stop him. Sasuke fell hard, looking up at the stranger who hit him. Ichi! I'm going to kill you! Sasuke screamed but was too weak to move. In fact, all of them were now feeling a bit weak. They felt weak. Like a great weight was upon them that they couldn't get rid of. They couldn't stand if they tried their hardest. What did you do to me? Sasuke asked, barely able to look up at a now maskless Ichi, a maskless Jiraiya and the rest of the special guard who were unfazed. Jiraiya-sama. Please, help us. The demon brat is going off the rails, Danzo struggled to say, as he was nearly stuck to the floor. Jiraiya just stood there shaking his head, not deeming Danzo worthy enough of even getting a response. Naruto looked with utter delight at the struggles of the Konoha group, Fuinjutsu on the floor. I didn't realize how fun it could be to use seals, especially on people of you despise. You know, today was actually a test for all of you, and most of you failed miserably. I see that Konoha hasn't changed one bit since my banishment, and most of you haven't either. Isn't this a sight to see? Almost all of the Konoha 11 here today, minus the bitchy fangirl. It's kinda funny when you think about it, huh? The dead last, up here watching all of you suffer. Now you have a little taste of what my entire life has been, Naruto spat, as many of his classmates struggled to say their apologies to him. I can feel your feelings. All of you, wanting to apologize to me for your actions from the past. Well, guess what? I do not accept any of them. You know why? Because when I needed you guys the most, you either spewed hatred towards me or didn't say anything at all. And you know what? I found your silence an even greater betrayal. After everything I did for you guys, I nearly went to hell and back, and this is how you repay my effort and kindness. I'm sick and tired of that village trying to use me for its own agenda. I won't stand it any longer. I hope you all rot in hell. Get them out of my sight and take them to the dungeons, Naruto said as he motioned for samurai with chakra sealing handcuffs to enter. They placed them on every Konoha member and the seal on the floor was released. You better know what's good for you and release us. You don't wan. Danzo started before he was silenced with a seal, courtesy of Jiraiya. Your village won't dare step foot in my country again. If you do, I will let the Kyuubi finish what he started the day I was born, Naruto said, the anger and bile coming out with every word he spoke. He was beyond mad. Kyuubi managed to get loose and try one last act of heroism, or so he thought. He got away from his samurai and he and Akamaru tried their combo attack again. Naruto shook his head and caught both of them and slammed them into each other, knocking both of them out. He didn't even have to take a step from where he was standing. The samurai picked the two up and stuck the handcuffs back on both of them. Anybody else? I can do this all day. You wanna go to? Naruto said as he smirked at Sasuke. He wanted to go, but Itachi was making it difficult to get loose. Didn't think so. Take them away, Naruto said. Hinata, realizing this was possibly her last chance to ever see Naruto again, used all her might to get away from her escort and kneel herself before Naruto. Zoro and Ika stopped her progress, but Naruto motioned for them to stand down. Naruto-kun, I know this is too little, too late, but I've wanted to tell you this for so long now. I just want you to know that I love you. It's always been you, Naruto-kun. I blame myself every day for your banishment and I wish I was strong enough to let you know sooner about how I felt for you. I realize it is too late, and though you may hate me for the rest of your life, I will support every decision you make. Even if it means destroying Konoha and all of us in it, I hope it brings you peace for the life you had to live. We are not people that are worthy of being called your friends. We turned our backs on you and we will always have to live with that, in this life and the next. I hope you do what needs to be done, she finished as everyone in the room stood still, shocked at her speech. Hinata had just confessed to Naruto, in front of his wife as well. Naruto released his Kyuubi chakra and kneeled down to get to Hinata's level. He took her hands in his, as she looked up at him, tears flowing from her pale eyes. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan, he said, as he kissed one of her hands and motioned for the samurai guard to escort her back with the others. Naruto pondered on Hinata's confession. Euphemia stood next to her husband, as she placed her hand in his. His palms were sweaty and warm, and she was worried about him. She knew he was thinking because of his face. He was thinking very hard about something. After a few moments, Naruto squeezed her hand and called out, "Wait!" Suddenly. The samurai stopped, as everyone else looked at him. "It seems that maybe I have had a change of heart on this matter. You will not go to the dungeon tonight unless of course, you want to. Due to Hinata's kindness and courage that she has displayed, I have felt that maybe I should display some back. I will offer you all a chance at redemption," he said as his entire demeanor changed from just a few minutes ago. The samurai brought the Konoha group back before the emperor. "You will either accept it or go to the dungeons. Your choice," Naruto said as everyone accepted the offer. Even Danzo, Sai and Sasuke, though Naruto knew it wasn't for redemption. Though Kiba was unconscious, Asuma made sure that he would participate and answered for him. "Since you all have accepted, your shot at redemption will be with what we do best, fight. Each of you will fight one person from the West. Since we are in the midst of our unification festival, we usually hold a fighting exhibition on the last day. However, it seems this year we will change it up a little bit. If even a single one of you wins a match, I will see to it that the West becomes an ally of Konoha. If none of you win, you will spend a night in the dungeons before I release you back to your Hokage. I believe that is adequate enough, isn't it?" Naruto asked calmly, as his former friends thought in the back of their minds that it wasn't fair at all. However, they knew they needed to do this for the village and hoped to get back into Naruto's good graces. They all accepted. "Perfect. You will have 3 days to prepare for your matches. All of your matches will take place in the arena. You will be allowed to use the training fields in the northern part of the capital. You will be escorted by an armed guard at all times, so don't try anything stupid because we will know, and we will kill you on the spot if you try anything. You will remain in your rooms at the Hotel de Grand. Use your time wisely," Naruto said while Asuma stepped up to speak. "My wife, she's pregnant. Please don't make her fight Naruto. I know you hate all of us right now, but don't take it out on our unborn child," Asuma pleaded. Naruto thought about what Asuma had said for a few moments before he thought of a great idea. "So will you let your wife become a single mother? Because if she doesn't fight, you will face off against her opponent as well," Naruto said seriously, no hint of a joke anywhere. Everyone, even Euphemia, was a bit shocked at Naruto's attitude towards Asuma. "I will. Just as long as I know she and our child are safe. I can die peacefully," Asuma responded, which intrigued Naruto. "It looks like your son did inherit some of your traits, Gigi," Naruto thought. Kurenai, on the other hand, looked at Asuma in shock. He was going to risk his life for her and the baby. She was unsure how she felt about that, not knowing if she could parent by herself. So be it. She will be confined to a room here in the palace under heavy guard. In the meantime, chop, chop. You all don't have much time to prepare, so I wouldn't waste any precious second," Naruto said as he motioned for his samurai guard to take them away. However, he had one last look at a few certain people: Hinata, Shikamaru, Choji, and Asuma. The only ones who didn't manage to fail his test so far. "I'll let them be just for a little bit longer," he thought. Sasuke, on the other hand, couldn't wait for the opportunity. He was going to embarrass Naruto in front of everyone. He thought that once he defeated his opponent, he would make sure to challenge Naruto for the throne of emperor. In his mind, Sasuke thought that Naruto would accept his challenge and that he would make sure to kill him this time. He totally disregarded Naruto's Kibai chakra as just for show. He would soon find out, however, that the Kibai power was no joke. Once the Konoha group was taken away, Naruto slumped into his seat, tired and wary of what just occurred. He looked like he was about to relax when Euphemia smacked him upside the head. "What the hell do you think you're doing? You give them a shot at redemption just like that? Just because of some girl? I don't want anything to do with that village whatsoever, Naruto," she said in anger at her sometimes spontaneous husband. She let him off the hook many times before, but this time he would not be so lucky. "Ouch! Yuffie!" Naruto yelled in pain, grabbing his head. "I agree with your wife, Gaki. You've stepped over the line on this one. What if they actually win just one match? Will you really hold your end of the bargain? You can't just go do these types of things on the fly. We had a plan, one that you thought out very brilliantly I might add, and we were following that plan to the letter. This could now throw a huge wrench in all of it," Jiraiya said, chastising his godson. Everything they worked hard for could end at the end of the week due to Naruto's randomness. When Naruto recovered, he stood up quickly. He looked at the remaining people in the throne room. His wife, Jiraiya, and Itachi. He looked all of them straight in the eye, gauging them. "You all still have my back, right?" he asked, causing the other three to look at each other before looking back at him and nodding nervously. "Then you have to trust me on this," Naruto replied, as another one of his audibles would be called into play here. Later that evening, after the events earlier in the day, Naruto needed to get some rest. He barely slept the previous night and all of the adrenaline he had when he met the Konoha group was now gone. He was very tired, to say the least. Euphemia made sure that he got some sleep in, knowing full well that the next few days were going to be even more challenging than today. Naruto was sleeping in his bed when a knock at his door woke him. He looked outside and realized that it was night now. The moon was shining high up in the night sky. As he got out of his bed, Naruto looked out his window. He saw the festival was still ongoing, seeing huge crowds still wandering the streets of the capital. This gave him a soft smile, knowing that his people were still enjoying themselves. He got to the door and opened it, seeing Walter standing there patiently. "Your wife requests your presence in the dining room, Naruto-sama. She would like to eat and converse with her husband," he said as Naruto nodded groggily in confirmation. He was too tired to even correct Walter. Naruto got changed into some nicer clothes and went down to greet the dining room to meet his wife. When he got there, his grogginess disappeared. It instead turned into anger. He saw Kurenai, setting down some plates and silverware as his wife entered from the kitchen and was placing some side dishes on the table. The two women seemed to be conversing with each other, though Naruto couldn't hear what they were saying. Then Irina entered, bringing in the first course of dinner it looked like. Naruto, however, was in no mood to eat at the moment. He entered the room, making his presence known to the three females. "Oh, dear, you are up. Just in time for dinner," Euphemia said cheerfully, not minding her husband's angry face. "What is she doing here, Yuffie?" Naruto asked as he gazed into the direction of the Genjutsu Kunoichi. "Why, she is here to eat dinner with us tonight. Now would you hurry and wash your hands so we can start eating? Irina has prepared a nice meal for us. Did you also happen to see my brother and sisters on your way down?" Euphemia said, again ignoring Naruto's tone. "She is not a guest in my house, Euphemia. You should have kept her in her room. I do not want anyone from that village conversing with my family," Naruto said, as Irina quickly placed the plates of food on the table and went back to the kitchen. Though she and Soma were good friends with the Emperor and Empress, she didn't want to be a part of another one of Naruto and Euphemia's quarrels. She didn't like that feeling of almost dying the last time. "Well, she is my guest in our house, Naruto. Don't think I forgot that little stunt you pulled earlier. You're lucky I'm not making you sleep in the living area. So either you can do that, or you'll just have to deal with the fact that Kurenai-san will be joining us for dinner tonight. Besides, she has some things she needs to say to you and I think you should hear her out." Euphemia threatened, causing Naruto to back down a bit. He did make his wife go through a lot already today, so it looked like he would have to suffer a bit through dinner. "I'm sorry, Kurenai-san. My husband sometimes forgets his manners at the dinner table, so you will have to wait until after dinner is served. Especially with ramen on the menu tonight, I don't think he'll hear anything you say," as he slurps away, Euphemia joked, her total demeanor changing after threatening Naruto. Kurenai laughed a bit nervously, hoping whatever she said would have a profound effect on both Naruto and Euphemia. A few moments later, Lelouch, Nunnally, and Cornelian entered the dining room as dinner began. They had a few appetizers to start off before the main course of ramen appeared on the table. Naruto let go of his anger for a moment and dug in immediately into the large bowl of ramen. As Euphemia said, he slurped away very loudly. Everyone else though didn't seem to mind as they started to ask Kurenai some questions about herself and also her future baby. When Naruto was finished with his fifth bowl of ramen, he recomposed himself, looking at Kurenai. Though he didn't know her very much, just her being associated with Konoha made him distrust her immensely. Kurenai took that as her cue and explained to Naruto what she wanted to say. She explained the entire background of the decision to banish him and the effects it had on everyone he knew. She told him the whole truth, about how all of his former classmates had changed because of his banishment. She reminded him about Shikamaru and Choji and how they defended him and his honor over the years. She even mentioned that Ino reflected about the mistakes she had made in the past. She even explained that Asuma regretted his decision on supporting his banishment and that she chastised him greatly for doing so. She also explained Team Guy's situation. She understood that even though they failed to defend him all those years ago, they were still always thinking of him and were striving to impart what they learned from him into their students. They wanted to make sure that people knew the truth of who the real Naruto was. Kurenai even mentioned how much Kakashi missed him. Though he had become Hokage now, he was still trying to figure out where Naruto went. She knew that he would be happy to hear that you were here in the West, as an emperor no less. Naruto tightened up a bit when his old sensei was brought up. Kakashi was nowhere to be found when he was banished, and though Naruto didn't have any serious resentment towards him, he wanted to know why his sensei abandoned him in his time of need. She then explained how much his banishment affected Hinata. How she changed from the soft-spoken girl to a fierce warrior almost overnight. She mentioned that even her father hated himself for her changes and wanted the old Hinata back. She also explained that Hinata never wavered in her love for Naruto. She would destroy anyone who spoke ill of him, regardless if they were friends or family. When she finished, she told Naruto that there were still people supporting him, even though it seemed like everyone was against him. She begged mercy for everyone not named, Sasuke, Sai, and Danzo. Though she knew Kiba was a bit of an idiot, he didn't know any better and he was still her student who she needed to look after. When Kurenai was done explaining, she could see Naruto was thinking heavily about everything she had just said. Though he was torn deep down about the situation of his former classmates, their situation couldn't be helped at the moment. They made their decisions, and Naruto would make his. My ruling will still stand. If they want redemption, they will have to earn it through battle. Though what you have told me tonight does lessen my anger a bit, I need to see it before I believe it. Though I thank you for your support and kind words, Kurenai, we are done here. I truly hope you and your baby live a long and fruitful life, Naruto said as he stood and made his exit from the dining room. Kurenai bowed to Naruto, tears starting to form in her eyes a bit. She did her best but to no avail. Everyone else in the room though felt a bit sorry for Kurenai. When they were done with dinner, samurai guards took her back to her room. Later, when they got into bed, Euphemia snuggled up to her husband, as he laid with her resting his eyes. "So what do you think?" she asked. Naruto knew all too well where she was going with this. "I don't know what to think. A part of me wants to spare some of them, but the other part wants to see them get what's coming to them," Naruto replied, looking down at his wife. "Well, don't you think at least a few of them earned a chance? I mean, they did defend you and displayed some courage today," she said. "They did, but my decision will still stand. They will have to fight for it. Though they may have defended me, I need to see that it was genuine," Naruto said. "What about the Hyuga girl? Do you have some feelings for her?" Euphemia asked, interested in Naruto's answer. "No, I do not. Though I do consider Hinata a dear friend, she hasn't done anything for me really. However, I do see her as the person who is most deserving of redemption," he answered, causing Euphemia to be intrigued. "How so?" "When she confessed to me, I was in my Kibai chakra mode. I felt her feelings and thoughts. They were genuine and it was a very warm feeling. Everything Kurenai said tonight only confirmed that. I don't know how to go about it," he said as silence came upon husband and wife. After a few minutes, Euphemia decided she would make a surprise announcement. "Then she should stay here," she said, causing Naruto to look at her with a surprised look. "What? She should stay here? If she genuinely supports you, then she shouldn't be stuck in that horrid of a place. She should earn your trust back here, where people won't judge her and where everyone will give her a second chance," Euphemia explained. "You did hear what she had to say today, right? She still loves me. Though I don't like her like that, I will still consider her as a friend. I don't want this causing a rift between you and her if she were to stay here," Naruto said as Euphemia sat up on their bed and repositioned herself so she was laying on her side, facing Naruto. "To be honest, I was a bit jealous of her earlier today because she changed your entire attitude on your decision. However, I trust you as my husband to do what's right. Plus, she has supported you her entire life. Ayam had come in earlier today and talked to me about her before I met up with your former village. She said that she wanted us to think about sparing her. As I think about it more, I can't seem to hate her, especially after the good words that were put in for her. She deserves a second chance, though that decision is entirely up to you," Euphemia said as Naruto laid back and thought about it more. "I'll have to think about it," he replied. "That's all I ask," Euphemia said as she got herself comfortable. A few days later the Konoha group gathered at the competitors' entrance at the arena, escorted by their armed guards. All of them had trained their butts off in the past 3 days, without any incidents surprisingly. It was now time to get what they came here for. If Naruto was true to his word, they just needed to win one match against the West and he would honor an alliance with them. Though some were a bit worried, Sasuke, Danzo, and Sai were not. They believed this would be a cakewalk. They would all win their respective matches and then make sure to destroy Naruto. Kenpachi greeted the group at the entrance with Yakiru on his back. He looked over all of them, seeing the confidence on their faces. He motioned them to follow him, as they entered their waiting area. "It's a shame they're going to get crushed. The confidence on their faces is almost inspiring," Kenpachi grinned. He just wished Naruto gave the go-ahead to allow killing in this exhibition. There will be time for that later. Let's crush their spirit first. Then we can finish them off when the time comes, he remembers Naruto telling the group of Western fighters. The Konoha group followed, noticing the sold-out crowd in the arena as they walked to their area. People were ready for the festivities, the exhibition matches being one of the highlights of the Unification Festival. Everyone from Konoha was amazed at the large arena and the number of people. There were more people here than the Chunin exams. Kenpachi explained to them that they would be chosen at random against a group of randomly chosen Western fighters. Why is it that the exhibition here is the most popular event? Aren't you all tired of fighting? I thought you wanted your new era of peace or whatever, Kiba asked, causing Kenpachi to look at him with a deadly glare. Because unlike you Easterners, fighting will always remain in our blood. It is a part of us. And don't think you are free to talk, Mutt. We have all heard about the stunt you tried to pull in the throne room against the Emperor. There are plenty of people here who want your head. So I would tread very carefully, Kenpachi said, as Kiba shuddered at his words. Yakira just laughed at Kiba and his pathetic face. Now, pay attention, your opponent will be selected on that large screen right there, Kenpachi said as he pointed upwards. All of the Konoha shinobi looked up as they saw their names plus the names of 13 fighters from the west. Then, the arena went pitch black, until a few shining lights came upon an orange-haired girl. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, to the 3rd Annual Unification Festival exhibition. I'll be your host and play-by-play commentator, Coco. The woman said over the loud PA system as the crowd cheered for the festivities to begin. Today we have a special treat for you all. We have members from the Eastern lands, who will be participating in today's event. We have billed it, the East vs West Showdown. Make some noise for our guests from the village of Konoha. She continued as the Konoha group stepped out into the arena and were met with silence. The crowd was unsure of these unknowns, not knowing whether to clap and cheer or boo. The Konoha shinobi felt a bit embarrassed at the reception. HMPH, after I destroy my opponent and Naruto, they will all cheer for me, Sasuke thought. Well, I tried to hype them up as much as possible. Hopefully, they give us some good matches today. Anyways, up next, is our wonderful competitors from the Unified West. Give it up for your Western fighters, she said as the competitors from the West now appeared in the arena. They were met with loud cheers, as both men and women alike cheered for their favorite fighter. Today, there will be 13 exhibition matches. Each match will be selected at random and the 2 chosen fighters will duke it out, no holds barred style. As usual, each match will have a referee to ensure an even playing field and that no necessary killing needs to occur, she said as some of the Konoha shinobi breathed a sigh of relief. Sasuke, on the other hand, could care less. His opponent would be below him anyway, and he would kill them regardless. And as usual, the only rules we have are, be respectful to the referee, stay within the arena grounds. If your opponent says give up, then the match is over and no killing is allowed. So without further ado, let us begin the selection phase. Turn your attention to the screen where you will see the random shuffle happen live. Coco finished as everyone's gaze turned to the large screen hanging from the rafters of the arena. The screen showed each match being randomized and finally stopped, displaying who was facing who, one by one, and in their match order. Kiba vs Sesshomaru Ino vs Scouter Lee vs Genichi Sai vs Spantengen vs Shigure Choji vs Sluffy Shino vs Natsu Daniel Shikamaru vs Yami Sukiro Neja vs Gon Freaks Hinata vs Mayu Asuma vs Edward Elric Danzo vs Saitama Sasuke vs Escanor. The Western crowd yelled as some of their favorite fighters were participating. The Konoha group was intrigued, wondering just who these fighters were and why people were so excited for them. They observed the Western fighters from afar. They looked like a ragtag bunch of fighters. Nothing seemed too special about them, some of them even seemed really small and weak. And they just needed to win one match? This was going to be a cakewalk, some of them thought. Now that our matches have been decided, I would like to take this time to thank our wonderful Emperor and Empress for making this entire week possible. They have worked extremely hard, so let's show them our gratitude as they make their entrance. Coco said as she pointed to the middle of the arena where there was a platform with a kunai at the center of it. In a flash, Naruto and Euphemia, along with most of their special guard, appeared as the crowd roared even louder than before. Even the Western fighters were cheering at the appearance of the Emperor and Empress. Naruto and Euphemia smiled as they waved to the crowd. Did you guys see that? Was that? Shikamaru asked once again, only for Asuma to turn to him and nod his head in disbelief. That was most definitely the Hiraishin, and that was most definitely going to be the end of Konoha, regardless if they got an alliance or not. We love you, Emperor and Empress Sama. Thank you for all your hard work. The Konoha group were amazed at the reception Naruto was getting. He really did seem to be some type of hero here. All of them, including Sasuke, remembered Naruto being a loser and a troublemaker. Now he was the emperor of probably the most powerful country in the world, and the people loved him. Hinata blushed as she looked proudly at Naruto. He had finally grown up and finally achieved his dream of being acknowledged. She just hoped he would give most of them a second chance. Suddenly, loud chants of Naruto's name rang throughout the arena. Naruto. 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 Okay, we know he's a hero and all, but this is getting a bit ridiculous, Ino said as the rest of the group agreed. Sasuke, on the other hand, got even more jealous. It should be his name being chanted throughout the arena, not the Dobis. His anger was rising. He didn't care who his opponent was anymore. He was going to kill him, and then he was going to challenge Naruto for the throne. He was going to kill him and make everybody chant his name. Danzo was also shaking with jealousy. How had the demon brat brainwashed an entire country into loving him? Though he hadn't been successful in influencing anybody here yet, he hoped to use his Sharingan to get some of these powerful fighters on Konoha's side. Spoiler alert, he wouldn't get that chance. Naruto, Euphemia, and their special guard flashed into their viewing box, which was basically front row seats in the arena. He signaled to Coco to begin the matches. With the Emperor's blessing and the power vested in me, I would like to officially kick off the 3rd Annual Unification Festival exhibition. The first match will be between Kiba and Yuzuka and Sesshomaru. The referee will be All Might. Will both fighters please step up to the fighting platform, Coco said as she moved out of the way and took her seat at the announcer's table. Both Kiba and Akamaru stepped up to one side, while Sesshomaru stepped up on the other side. Today is the day I show my worth as the alpha of my pack. Be prepared for a world of hurt, pal, Kiba said energetically, followed by a large bark by Akamaru. Sesshomaru just stared at him, knowing all too well who this person was. So you're the one who attacked the Emperor? How primitive. You will soon find out that I am not as merciful as he is, Sesshomaru responded, causing Kiba to yelp a bit. All Might saw that the two were ready and was prepared to begin the match. First, however, he had to remind the demon yokai about the rules. Remember Sesshomaru-san, no killing, he said, though even he was unsure if yokai would acknowledge him or not. Everyone in the West knew that Sesshomaru's loyalties lied with the Emperor and no one else. Without further delay, All Might began the match. Kiba, still not learning his lessons from the previous 2 matches with Naruto, went on the offensive early. He and Akamaru leapt forward quickly, hoping to attack their opponent before he could react. Sesshomaru was having none of it and just sidestepped both of them and caught them by the neck. He threw them across the arena, into a wall. Before Kiba and Akamaru could react, Sesshomaru was on them, his dog Kazo claws out and ready to strike. Kiba and Akamaru barely managed to dodge Sesshomaru's attacks. The two regrouped and Akamaru transformed into an identical Kiba. "Looks like we a good one on our hands," Kiba said as Akamaru nodded. Gotsuga both Kiba clones launched themselves at Sesshomaru with great speed. Their rotation was much tighter. After only a few days of practice and their attack would be hard to stop for a normal opponent. Unfortunately for them, Sesshomaru was not a normal opponent, and without moving from his spot, impeded their progress with just one arm. Though they were still in a tight rotation, Kiba and Akamaru were basically stuck. "Useless, human. Do you think an alpha attacks like this? You are no alpha. You are an omega of your pack. The lowest of all omegas. Now feel the wrath of the great Sesshomaru," he said as he now directed them into the ground. Kiba and Akamaru hit the ground with tremendous force and finally stopped their rotation. They were badly injured, as they hit the ground with plenty of force, but they were conscious. However, Sesshomaru wasn't done with them just yet. "Look at you and your mutt. How pathetic you both are. And you call yourself an alpha? HMPH. Let me show you what a real alpha looks like," Sesshomaru said as he transformed into his demon form. "Now you will pay dearly for your earlier actions," Sesshomaru said as he was about to attack a barely conscious Kiba and Akamaru with his large claws. Before All Might stepped in, he knocked Sesshomaru out of the way, causing the now large dog to stumble back a bit. "I said no killing, Sesshomaru-san. Those are the rules," All Might said, ready for anything as he took a defensive stance. "Whoa, that guy is out of control," Ina remarked as everyone else agreed. They thought that the only demons that were alive were the tailed beasts. How mistaken they were. There were demons in the west, and they seemed way more powerful than those in the east. Danzo was salivating at the sight. "He will be the first one I control." Meanwhile, All Might had his hands full with an out-of-control Sesshomaru. "Out of the way, All Might. This Omega is mine. They are weak, and need to be eradicated from the pack," he said as Kiba and Akamaru were slowly crawling their way back to their group. "Sesshomaru-san, please. It is enough, you are already the winner of this match," All Might tried, to no avail. Sesshomaru kept coming until Naruto stepped in. "That is enough, Sesshomaru," Naruto said, appearing in his tailed beast mode form. He became the same size as Sesshomaru now, and caught the Inuyukai as he tried to throw a punch at All Might. Sesshomaru looked at Naruto, who had his arms folded and was surrounded by Kurama's chakra and was in sage mode. Sesshomaru then reverted back to his human form, as did Naruto. "As you wish, Emperor," he said as he took his leave as though nothing happened. He moved back to the Western Fighters box, as the crowd cheered, even though he had gone batshit crazy. "All Might, call the match," Naruto said to his advisor as All Might did what he was told. Naruto walked back to his box shaking his head. Sesshomaru was almost loyal to a fault. He would have to talk to him about that later. Due to Kiba and Yuzuka being unable to continue, the winner of this match is Sesshomaru, he said as the crowd roared. Sesshomaru put his hand up with a small smile as he acknowledged everyone in the arena. The medical staff stepped in and took Kiba to the tent to get treatment. He would have a concussion but would remain alive. He would then be put in the dungeon, as per the agreement. Koko came back to announce the next match between Ino and Galter. Both competitors stood at the center of the platform. The referee for this match is Kazuma Kuwabara. "May the best woman win," Ino said as Galter gave her a puzzling look. "You do know that I am a man, right?" he replied back, as Ino nearly had a heart attack. "Begin." Ino recollected herself and moved in to try and fight close quarters. Though she was a long-range specialist, she was able to hold her own when it came to taijutsu. Unfortunately, she wasn't on the level she needed to be yet. She swung wildly, trying to hit Gouter with a series of combos, though none were landing. Gouter, growing tired of dodging, kicked off of her to create some distance. Sukihito, twin bow Harriet, he summoned 2 purple energy bows as he took aim and quickly shot an O in her head. It rendered her momentarily unconscious, as he decided to search and rewrite her memories. The other Konoha shinobi were wondering what was going on, seeing as though there was no action, yet the referee didn't call anything. Next thing they knew, Ino ran to Asuma immediately. "Why won't he love me, sensei? I did everything for him. I even look better than that pink-haired bimbo, Sakura," Ino said as she was crying in Asuma's arms. They were all so confused at her sudden change in attitude. "I saw that she got rejected by that Sasuke guy before. So I readjusted her memories and made it happen over and over again to the point where she's almost insane. Don't worry, she'll recover from it soon. Unfortunately, though, this makes you 0 for 2 so far," Gouter said as Kazuma declared him the winner. The crowd cheered, seeing another victory for the West. Ino was taken away to the dungeons, still sobbing over her past rejections from Sasuke. Though they were 0 and 2 so far, the East was still not too discouraged, yet. Though they had lost, Ino and Kiba were probably the weakest out of all of them. So they didn't really have anything to worry about yet. Koko announced Lee and Genichi as the next match as both competitors came to the center. Lee was ready, he had been waiting for this moment, to earn his redemption from Naruto. He made a mistake in not defending Naruto in the past, but that would be the last time that would happen. He vowed this match would be where he shows Naruto the fruits of his training. Genichi, on the other hand, remembered that he was facing a person who was silent in defending Naruto. Though normally cheerful and a good sport even to an enemy, Genichi was dead serious. Even the referee, Killua, was a bit surprised at Genichi's attitude. "Be prepared for my burning flames of youth, Kenichi-san," Lee said as he took his stance. Kenichi totally ignored him and got into his stance. The fight wasn't even close. Though Lee was probably the best taijutsu user out of the entire group, he was not on the same level as a determined Genichi. Not even opening a 6th gate could get Lee past Genichi. Lee had reached his limits and was barely standing, which gave Genichi the opening. Kaoru Inuki Genichi delivered his most powerful attack, straight to Lee's knee. It broke in every place imaginable and the crack could be heard throughout the arena. Lee yelled in pain, gripping his knee. The bone was already displaced and sticking out of its socket. Killua immediately called the match. That was the moment the Konoha shinobi started to lose their confidence a bit. Not even a 6th gate Lee could defeat a guy who didn't seem to look all that great. Lee was screaming in pain, as the medical crew came and were putting him onto a stretcher. You cry in pain over an injury like this. Imagine having to deal with that pain for your entire life. "I hope your silence was worth it," Genichi said as he walked back to his waiting area. He nodded at Naruto, who in turn gave him a thumbs up. The crowd erupted again, almost cynically this time. The next match between Sai and Ben was basically a one-sided match. Sai didn't have enough time or space to draw any of his summons. And when he did summon his drawings, they turned against him almost immediately. He was so focused on defending himself from his drawings that he didn't keep track of Ben, who appeared behind him and knocked him out with a simple chop to the head. Tenten vs Shigure was also almost the same. Though she was a weapons specialist, Tenten was no match for Shigure's skill with weapons. Just like the first time the two met each other in battle, Shigure easily knocked Tenten out with the back of her staff. The match was rather merciful though, compared to the others. The next match between Choji and Luffy piqued Naruto's interest. When the match began, Choji immediately expanded, hoping to use his size and strength to overcome his skinny opponent. He tried to stomp on Luffy, who easily dodged every attack. Choji was exerting his energy quickly and his size was starting to shrink. His attacks were now slowing down, giving Luffy an opening. The Straw Hat wound back as he prepared his attack, Gamu Gamu no Pistoru, Gamu Gamu no Pistol. Luffy threw a devastating punch, hitting Choji at tremendous speeds and knocked the Akemaki back to the same wall where Kiba ended. Luffy hit Choji right in the chest, causing him to shrink back to his normal size. You can expand too? Choji asked, clutching his chest and checking to see if the punch broke anything. Shahihi, of course I can. I'm like rubber, Luffy said, walking up the injured Okimaki. Mendicus, Choji is in trouble, Shikamaru muttered. I would advise you to give up. Before you get hurt even more, Luffy said, causing a spark in Choji's eyes. No matter if my back is against the wall, I will never give up. That is my ninja way, Choji said, referencing Naruto. He took out his 3 food pills and promptly ate them, regaining his strength back. Suit yourself, Luffy said as he wound up again. Gamu Gamu no Gatling. Luffy shot a barrage of punches towards Choji, who embraced the hits but was still standing his ground. In fact, Choji seemed to be getting bigger, as he slowly moved forward to Luffy. He managed to catch one of Luffy's punches and didn't let go. He picked up the pirate and swung him around a bit before throwing him across the arena. Luffy immediately got up with a wide grin on his face. My. Do we have a match now? He said as he shot himself at Choji. Choji remained tough, fighting valiantly throughout the rest of the match, but was ultimately killed by a Gamu Gamu no Bazooka. Luffy was declared the winner as the crowd cheered. Naruto, however, was very impressed. Choji's resilience throughout the match made it very entertaining. Even though he was completely outmatched, he never gave up and expanded all of his energy into trying to beat his opponent. Well, add one to the list, Naruto thought. The next match was Shino vs Natsu. I'm all fired up. Natsu, proclaimed as the ever-quiet Shino, took his place in the center. This match went in favor of Natsu, who easily dispatched Shino's insects with his fire. He burned through all of them, giving him the opening to attack Shino with a fire dragon's roar, which rendered Shino unconscious. The next match will be Yami Sukiro vs Shikamaru Nara. Koko announced as both competitors went to the center of the arena. Shikamaru studied his opponent, who appeared to be trying to intimidate him. It was working. Shikamaru shook a little bit at the man's face. The face was 10 times worse than Captain Yamato's. Shikamaru also deduced that his opponent was definitely powerful in his own right. The referee for the match was Meliandas, who looked very uninterested in being a part of this. He shouted "Begin!" to hurry along with the proceedings so he could go and grope Elizabeth. Shikamaru immediately jumped into the air and threw an exploding tag kunai at Yami. The Magic Knight easily avoided the attack and sent out a wave of black magic at Shikamaru. The attack barely missed the Nara but cut a piece of his uniform off. Shikamaru sent out his shadows, trying to take advantage of the Wildwood Arena and his opponent's large shadow. Yami saw the shadows creeping and noticed it was similar to his black magic. He threw out his lightless slash as a distraction. Shikamaru had to dodge these two, forcing his shadows to stop. Yami then summoned his dark binding from his grimoire, restraining the Nara, who fell right into his trap. Yami pulled out his sword, prepared to strike Shikamaru before the Nara did something no one from Konoha was surprised at. "Give up," he said with a dull voice. He had gone over the calculations in his head before the match even started. He realized that the opponents they were fighting had similar abilities to them. These fighters from the West were strong and chances of winning were already slim. He figured out from the beginning that he wasn't going to win the match anyway, but he thought he'd at least try and see what his opponent could do. He was beginning to wonder how random this draw really was. Was it just bad luck? Or was it a coincidence? Shikamaru was beginning to wonder if Naruto had planned this from the beginning, just to show how strong the West really was. As Shikamaru was taken away, he whispered something to Asuma. The Sarutobi looked a bit shocked and his confidence seemed to waver after that. The next match was between Neji and Gon Freaks. Gon easily dispatched Neji. Even with his Byakugan activated, Neji had a hard time keeping up with Gon's speed and agility. Neji got hit, even in his Kaiten, as Gon found weak points and used his fishing hook to throw Neji into the eastern waiting area, effectively ending the match by countout. Hinata vs Mayu was almost similar, and though Hinata tried her hardest, it wasn't enough against the elder's granddaughter. Mayu knocked down Hinata to the point where she could barely walk, and the referee acknowledged that Hinata couldn't last any longer and gave the victory to Mayu. Mayu looked very concerned for Hinata when she was helped off of the platform. She hoped she wasn't hurt too bad, knowing full well the implications of their match. With only 3 matches remaining, the Konoha group were still winless. They were heavily outmatched in each, not even coming close to even touching their opponents. It hadn't even been an hour yet, and already the matches were coming to an end. The crowd started to boo whenever a Konoha shinobi was called up. They were seen as weak, not even being able to last a few minutes. It was disheartening for Asuma, but Danzo and Sasuke could care less. They both felt that they would easily win their matches and force Naruto into an alliance. Asuma faced off against Edward Elric. The alchemist overpowered Asuma in close combat weaponry. Edward transmuted his arm into a blade and easily disarmed Asuma from his chakra blade. Edward had his blade at Asuma's neck before Asuma also gave up. It seemed that whatever Shikamaru told him made him unfocused, and caused him to lose an edge. Though he was supposed to face another opponent, Asuma was instead escorted to the dungeons. Naruto decided that the ass-kicking from Edward was enough. Though he was ruthless at times, Naruto didn't want to see Asuma and Kurenai's future baby go through the same ordeal that he did. Up next was Danzo, who looked eagerly ready to compete against Saitama. The hero, on the other hand, looked very disinterested. Danzo thought how stupid this person looked, wearing a yellow jumpsuit. No strong fighter in their right mind would be caught wearing something so ridiculous, he thought. When the match began, Danzo immediately tried to get Saitama under his control through his hidden Sharingan. He tried to use his Koto Umatsukami, but it seemed to have no effect on Saitama whatsoever. Instead, due to his delay, Danzo got hit by a normal series punch from Saitama. He flew high into the air, crashing into the arena roof, before slamming back down on the ground. He was knocked out cold. Saitama was immediately declared the winner. Danzo was dragged by the samurai guards to the dungeon. They were instructed by Euphemia to not even give him a stretcher or any assistance due to his conduct in the throne room. And then there was one. It was Sasuke's turn next. He stepped up to the center of the platform smirking. He knew it was up to him now. However, he thought he was going to just destroy whoever he faced. That's when he noticed the crowd was chanting, "Escanor! Escanor! Escanor!" A man stepped out in a bartender suit, with a red bow tie. He had on spectacles and a large mustache covering his mouth. He walked to the center of the platform with a large axe that looked extremely heavy for him, as Sasuke's smile grew wide. "This is who I have to face? A pipsqueak like this? Let's start this match. I will make it very quick, he said until the referee stepped up. It was Hinata Furenji, and he smiled at the young Akaya. Calm yourself, Sasuke-chan. There is one important thing we must do since this is the last match of the festival, Hayato told him, causing some confusion for Sasuke. Open the roof, Hayato said as the building started to shake. The crowd went crazy, excited to finally see this experience again. The roof started to open, allowing the rays of sunshine to enter into the arena. Sasuke looked up and had to turn away because it was too bright for his eyes. He then looked at his opponent, who was now standing much taller than him. He stood over him, his body transformed into a chiseled physique. His clothes were ripped and the man carried the axe on his shoulder as if it were a feather. What is this? Where was the pipsqueak that was just here a second ago? Sasuke yelled in confusion. This was not the person he was supposed to be facing. There must have been some trickery in this. He is standing right in front of you, the elder Furenji told Sasuke as Escanor looked down at him. I am the Empress's loyal guard. The one who sits atop all clans. I am the 7 deadly sins lion sin of pride, Lord Escanor. Escanor said, causing much laughter out of Sasuke. Both the elder and Escanor looked at Sasuke, confused. You have got to be fucking with me. What a complete joke. Let me show you who really sits atop all of the clans, Sasuke said, activating his Sharingan. Hayato started the match and Sasuke struck first, attacking Escanor head-on at blazing speed. Naruto just shook his head, the term still hasn't learned, he thought. Escanor, on the other hand, used his axe as his defense and deflected Sasuke's attack. He swung his battle axe at Sasuke, causing him to jump back and create space. He weaved some hand signs and sucked in, Gitten, Gokuku no Jutsu. A large ball of fire came out of his mouth and headed straight for Escanor. The Sin of Pride just stood there and cut the fireball in two with his axe. Immediately though, Sasuke was on him with a powered-up Chidori, preparing to strike. Sasuke surmised that he needed to finish this fight quickly if he wanted to challenge Naruto. He tried to stab Escanor, who just caught his arm and slammed him into the ground. The Chidori made a small hole but broke Sasuke's fall a bit. Escanor swung his axe down, but Sasuke turned just in time to see it and moved out of the way. TCH, I'm going to have to use it, Sasuke thought, as he started to activate his curse seal. He started to go into pain immediately but felt the power rushing through his veins. My turn, he said as he rushed at Escanor quickly, his speed nearly doubling. This made Naruto very curious. He had not seen Sasuke ever use that before and wondered if the snake had anything to do with it. He made sure to take note of it for future reference. Even with his cursed seal activate though, Sasuke was still no match for Escanor's strength. In his advance, Sasuke was cut by Escanor's axe. He clutched his arm in pain, as he felt a burning sensation coming from his large gash on his arm. It was as though his arm was on fire. He didn't have time to pay attention to it though and powered up another Chidori. He wouldn't miss this time. He lunged forward again, slipping past Escanor's axe and met flesh. Sasuke smirked, seeing as though he hit his mark. Unfortunately, though, he didn't realize that he hadn't even penetrated Escanor's skin to do any damage. The lion merely laughed at the effort. You're going to have to do better than that to defeat me, he said as he picked up Sasuke by the arm, broke it, and then threw him high into the air. The entire crowd in the arena watched as Escanor jumped as high with his axe in tow. Sasuke was powerless to do anything, as Escanor made cuts into each of Sasuke's limbs. Sasuke yelled in pain as they fell back down. He lay there, feeling as though his whole body was on fire. Please. Make it stop. Make it stop. It burns. He screamed as Escanor and Hayato merely looked on at him. "Can you continue, Sasuke-chan?" Hayato asked, only to be met with another scream of pain. "I declare your winner for this match, Escanor," Hayato said as he raised Escanor's hand. The samurai guards approached and took Sasuke away. He had reverted back to his human form and felt a type of pain that he had never felt before. What made matters worse for him was that the guards never took Sasuke out of the sunshine, which only caused more damage to the Uchiha. Naruto only laughed when Sasuke screamed in pain. He loved the sight, not to mention the fact that Konoha had not won a single match. He planned this from the very beginning, knowing fully well that the Konoha group didn't stand a chance against any of the fighters from the West. "I told you. You just had to trust me," Naruto said to Euphemia. She turned to him and placed a kiss on his cheek. "I never should have doubted you, my husband," was her reply. The fans cheered for Escanor as he made his way back to the waiting area. Then Naruto appeared in the middle of the arena to speak. He apologized that the East had sent such weak fighters and that the crowd hadn't seen much action. He then set up another round of fights for their entertainment. He selected a few fighters personally, hoping to give the crowd a better showing than the previous 13 matches. When he returned to his seat, Jiraiya whispered something into his ear. Naruto just nodded his head as Euphemia gave him a look. "I have to go and prepare for the important guests tonight. Don't wait up for me. You can take over from here," he said as he smiled and gave her a kiss on the lips. Euphemia, knowing all too well who his guests were. "I can't wait to hear all about it tomorrow then," Euphemia said as Naruto nodded and flashed away with his guards and Jiraiya. Thank you for watching.